All right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Denise Bittler, and I am one of the founding members of the Career Experts Group. We're a network of master career practitioners that share one mission: to guide and support individuals at all stages of the career journey, from new college graduates all the way up to C-suite executives. Each month, we generate an information-packed newsletter titled Your Career, Your Future, which provides the latest career and hiring trends, insights, tips, advice, really to help you either find the next job, maybe climb the next rung on the career ladder, or make the most of your current position. So for our August 2022 newsletter, we're focusing on really taking time for yourself to rejuvenate, renew, reinvigorate your life, your passion, and your career. So to help us identify some actions we can take to really refocus on ourselves, we're speaking today with Michele Saunders of Thrive365. Michele helps working professionals and those on a career break adjust their mindset and really navigate the challenges of transitioning careers, beginning their next chapters, and finding renewed purpose in work and life. Michele, welcome, and we're so excited to have you join us.
Thank you, Denise. I'm excited for the conversation.
Oh, great. So, let's just start off with all the uncertainty in the job market today. What advice would you give some of our listeners really on how to stay positive, especially after, a job rejection during their career search?
Great question. I am a big advocate of supporting the clients I work with on being the driver of their life, being the one who creates change, who inspires themselves with change and opens their mind always to possibilities, creativity, and opportunities. So with that in mind, of being the driver, not being somebody who feels that everything is just going to come to them necessarily, but being the one who creates what they want for their lives. I really believe that to stay positive, I love to help people understand the difference between a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. And that means that things can evolve. Life is flexible, fluid, evolving, changing. Nothing is static. Nothing stays exactly the same. And in the job search and in any kind of professional transition, to know that any step you take is a step forward, that any movement is movement in the right direction. Even if it may feel sometimes as though it's in the wrong direction, moving is better than staying still because you can learn from everything. So the growth mindset really encourages people to look at the way they're looking at the world. And that is, not everything is going to come immediately, as we know, especially in the whole job search field area moment. But everything can be looked at, every step can be looked at as something to learn from and grow with. And a rejection, for instance, or a lack of somebody responding to an email or to a resume sent in or a conversation is just, it's just that, it's information. But it doesn't mean it's a call to stop. It means, okay, that happened there. I'm going to look at that. I'm going to learn from it. I'm going to keep going. It's a keep going. So staying in the driver's seat, thinking growth. Then another point that I like to help people with in staying positive is truly understanding your values. And when your own values are honored, that helps you stay positive. Mm-hmm. The minute you start feeling sort of misaligned, that you're honoring a value that isn't really a value, it may be something that someone tells you you should be doing something, or speaking to an organization, let's say, that you don't really feel you resonate with, or a type of position that doesn't truly feel that it's going to serve you and interest you, that will be a time to make a decision and make a choice as to, am I following my values? Am I really honing into who I am, so that my movement, my staying on the path, and my moving forward is in alignment with who I am? So knowing your values, growth mindset. Two more points I have for this to stay positive, and that is, it sounds almost cliche sometimes to say, well, get really clear on your vision or your mission, but clarity is so important. And when I help people with clarity, sometimes clarity is this the right time to actually be making a change in your career? Is there something else going on? Are you ready? Are you certain this particular direction is the one that you want to take? So not that we have to know everything and check off every dot, but clarity on where you want to go is so important. And it's helpful to talk through so that you're clear on your clarity. And that there's a sense of direction that makes sense. And finally, I would just say, I talk a lot about this with the coaching clients that I have. And, my coaching is really around mindset and transition. And in any transition, in any phase or chapter of our life, you can choose who you want to be in that situation, how you want to show up. And that's a choice that's very empowering. And that can actually help people stay positive, because if you step back and you reflect and you slow everything down, you can decide who you want to be in a job interview, who you want to be in a networking call, who you want to be as you represent yourself with your resume and so forth. So all of these are areas to help people stay in control of their life, so that they feel that they're not at the affect of things happening, but at the driver's seat.
That's phenomenal advice. And, as you were talking, you did mention about, being ghosted. That is something that we hear, and, that can be very demoralizing. But I think as part of kind of the thought process that you've gone through here is, if people can remind themselves that it's not personal, it's not them. So if they've been ghosted, you can pretty much guarantee that other people in that process have been ghosted as well.
Yes.
Okay. And that it's not meant as an affront to you. It is a really a failure on the part of either the hiring manager or the recruiter or whatnot. And if that is their practice of ghosting people, is that a company that you really would want to work for anyway? Mm-hmm. So really thinking through, not taking it personally, and really, just like you said, looking at the whole picture, yes, I think can make a huge difference in how we internalize or really let situations that are out of our control impact us or affect us going forward. So I love those ideas. Mm-hmm. So can you maybe share some actions you've personally taken to stay motivated, maybe after a career or a life setback?
Oh, absolutely. So my story is maybe a little bit different, maybe similar to some other people's, but I was in a career in human resources for many years in the corporate world, loved what I did, training and development, trained internal employees at different corporations on how to basically do their job better and with a more fulfilled and satisfied attitude and so forth. So I was a trainer, and then I pursued a degree in social work, and I learned counseling skills and brought all of those back into the corporate world. And then I chose to take a career break and stay at home with my children. And that was something that was a big decision. I knew what I was leaving. I knew that to make that change would possibly put me in kind of a career setback mode as to when I was ready to return, what would that look like for me? But that was something, if we go back to values, that was something that was so important to me at the time in our family unit, so important to my family, so important for my husband and I, for me to be home. And so I spent years in that mode. And when it came time for me to pursue then my next chapter, my professional next chapter, that felt very daunting to me. Here I was, older, out of the job market for a long time, wondering what skills I needed to learn, wondering how people would perceive me, where would I best fit? Do I really see myself back in the corporate world or not? A lot of questions. Had I had a coach during that time, and this is what I realize now, the whole process would have accelerated and I would have become clearer faster. It took me time. I eventually got there, spoke to a lot of people, networked. And what I learned about networking is that the more people you speak with and can learn from and share your thoughts with, the better. People, conversations. It ultimately took me one conversation with somebody to say to me, have you ever thought about the field of coaching? To have that light bulb go off, to then have me propelled into looking for whatever I needed to do to educate myself in the field, become certified and so forth. And I was then on my way. So my first point in telling that whole story is that I saw myself slowing down and feeling stuck. I definitely had days where I wondered, in my 50s, can I really get back out there and contribute? Am I valuable anymore? So I had all of that. And I would say, take risks, fight through and talk to somebody around limiting beliefs. The stories that we make up about ourselves are often not true. Take a look at what's true and what's not true, and really have someone help you look at that. Sometimes it's hard to see. We all think that our thoughts are true, but they're just thoughts. They're not necessarily true. They're just thoughts. So learn to look at your own story as what's actually true or not. Be open to conversations. See the need and the necessity, really, to accept not being perfect. Nobody, no person and no job and no company is perfect. And everybody has a different definition also of perfect. Right. So be the best you can be in showing up, bringing your enthusiasm, bringing your interest, your desire, and know that there is no such thing as perfect. So your definition of perfect may not even be the other person who's interviewing you, let's say, his definition of perfect. So it doesn't matter anyway. It's just words. And letting go of fear, realizing that everybody has fear, and that can be a block to certainly a setback. So a setback, a block to moving forward, a huge one is fear. What will people think of me? Will I mess up in an interview? Do I even know what I'm talking about? The whole imposter syndrome, maybe I'll fake it till I make it, all of that. Well, that fear and that lovely conversation that you hear going through your mind can just sit next to you. It can just be your ally telling you, okay, thank you. Thank you, you're there. It's never really going to totally go away, exactly. But it's there. And now it's not serving you. And you just place it there. And now you move forward, knowing that it can just set aside. So those are some of the things that I've learned. And then I watched myself do, actually, as the more people I spoke with and the more doors opened, the more I realized that's what it's all about. It's just movement, taking action, and not believing every thought that you have as true.
Exactly. And one of my favorite quotes is Matt, I think it's Matt Mullins, I think is his name. He's a wrestler, whatever, but the quote is, the only person you should try to be better than is the person you were yesterday.
Oh, I love that.
And that is one of my favorite quotes is, that's don't compare yourself to other people. Don't think somebody's doing better than you or what, just, are you doing better? Are you a better person? Have you learned something that you didn't know yesterday? Like really just being in connection, I guess, with yourself, not as it compares to others, but with yourself. I love that quote. I love that too. One of my favorite quotes. Right. So do you have, I know you're an avid reader. Do you have any favorite book or books, I should say, where you really find inspiration that you think our listeners may find helpful?
I do. I have so many books. I love reading. So I have a list, and I'm going to just read some names, and people can just pause this and look them up, whatever. And just, these are books that for me have helped keep me on the path, have helped my clients with inspiration. And the clients that I work with are at all different ages, at different stages of life. And I have found that it doesn't matter. These books resonate. These books are really, so the first one that I really enjoy is called The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. The Big Leap. The Big Leap is all about knowing that you are almost there at where you want to be, but yet you have to take a leap over whatever it is, obstacle that is in your way that it may be self-imposed, to actually keep going. So that's a very, very short summary, but The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks is a great book. There's a book called Soul Batical by Shelley Paxton. And it's her true story of going from a high-powered career to taking not a sabbatical, but a soul batical, and taking time off to really reflect on who she is, what she wants, where she wants to go. And I found it really inspirational. There is another book called The Giants and the Smalls. And this is a book by Nicholas Townsend Smith. And it's literally a children's book. It looks like big cartoon pictures or illustrations. And the same as Disney has movies that one would think would be just a children's movie, there are so many adult themes.
Oh, yes.
So it's the same for this book, that The Giants and the Smalls talks about, who do you want to be? Do you want to be a giant, or do you want to keep yourself small? And I just love it. I just think it hits the mark. So another book is The Long Game by Dory Clark, and how sometimes things are not immediate, but when you play the long game.
Yeah, I have read that one. That's very, very good.
Yeah. Another one I love is called The Go-Giver by Bob Berg. I believe there's another author. I don't have it next to me. But if someone Googles The Go-Giver, it's when we network and meet people and put ourselves out there, the concept of giving, not getting, is truly so helpful. So for people who are looking for building relationships, professional relationships, joining networking groups, meeting people, it puts a great perspective on giving and how to serve and what that means in light of relationship building and ultimate service and so forth. So it's another great one.
I actually like that one because
Yeah,
if someone in my network, whether it be a client or just doesn't even have to be a client, somebody in my network, if I see a post, they've been laid off, but I actually keep a board in front of me above my computer, and I'll put their name and their title, maybe their geographic area, whatever. And then they'll stay up there until I see that they've gotten a job. And if I happen to come across an article or come across a job posting that I think might be helpful, that's my, oh, okay, I'll forward that. I'll forward that because it's that constant. Um, I'm a firm believer in that what goes around comes around. And, if you can't always be asking, you have to be, again, giving. And that's just one of my ways to do it, is by keeping this help board.
wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And you have those names in front of you so that if
Yes.
and then something connects, you'll just send. That's a great service.
Yes. Yeah. It's just, I've had people that have helped me throughout my career, and, just always trying to find those little ways to give back, because, even if you're in a not so great place in your life, your career, whatever, that satisfaction of helping someone out, even if it's just something as simple as I saw this article and thought it might be helpful, it gives you a sense of accomplishment that you don't have in your life at that time. So yes, you're helping someone else, but it is beneficial to you as well.
I agree. And the end of the day, we are all people, and job seekers are people, interviewers are people, and and everybody likes that connection and help, and absolutely. So that's great. I love that you do that. I can name.
I didn't mean to cut off your. I didn't.
Not at all. I'll name
off your book list.
If it's helpful, I've three more. There's a funny book also that is a true go get them kind of book. Like, they just gets you going. The author is Jen Sincero, I think Sincero, and she has a series of books. You Are a Badass is the name. And it's just so great. You're a badass at making money. You're a badass. She has different ones, and it just tells her story of how she just got off the couch and finally made things happen, and just in a funny way, but in a way that is it's so motivational. Really, it really is, for me anyway. There's a classic by William Bridges called Transitions, and it's all about basically the phases, when you're going through a transition. So in this case, professional transition, grieving where you're coming from, letting that go, ending, and then the different phases as you go through to finally achieve your next step is great. And then the last one is Mindset by Carol Dweck. And it's just a book that talks so much about the growth mindset versus fixed mindset, and how we can just keep learning and learning, and not be stuck and fixed and set in stone. So
So I was laughing about, when you were saying about, transitioning through everything. And one of the books I read to my kids when they were younger, and I still have a copy of it amongst all my career related books.
Right.
And it's the Giving Tree by Shel Silverstein.
Oh, I love
because
that
to
book.
me, that book, the lessons in that book, while it's the children's book, the lessons in that book, I think are so appropriate. I don't care how old you are, where you are in your career. I think it just gives us a very easy lesson. To kind of drive by. So I have to laugh because, it's not a career book. But it is a very effective, I think, mindset book.
I agree. I'm glad you mentioned that. I've got to go we have a copy of that. I love that book too. That was great. Yeah. And right. Like the giants and the smalls,
Exactly.
The themes are there. The themes are there.
Exactly. So, I had mentioned the quote that I like. Do you happen to have a particular like inspirational quote, anything like that, that you kind of live by or share that resonates with you?
Yeah, there's so many. There's one that Carol Dweck, the author of Mindset, has, and I'll read it. It's, no matter what your ability is, effort is what ignites that ability and turns it into accomplishment. So it's effort. And that's what I mean by staying in the driver's seat. If people are willing to, and the key word here is willing, what are you willing to do in terms of effort, in terms of taking steps, and in terms of experimenting and seeing what's possible? That's how we can find accomplishment. So I really like that. No matter what your ability is, some people doubt themselves so much, but effort is what ignites and turns it into accomplishment. So,
yep. And I would think, your ability varies over time based on your mental capacity, based on everything else. But yeah, like you said, as long as you're putting that effort in, the rest should kind of fall into place.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, Michele, I cannot thank you enough for joining us today. This information has been phenomenal. We will be sharing excerpts of this in the August edition of the newsletter, and we will be sharing this on our Career Experts Group YouTube channel, along with the video as well as the transcript. And if any of the readers or listeners would like to get in touch with you, how can they get in touch with you? How can they learn more about you?
Sure. Well, the best way to get in touch with me, I answer all emails, is my email, which is Michele, which is with one L, Michele at Thrive365Coach.com. To learn more about me, my website is Thrive365Coach.com. And I talk about the different kind of work that I do. I work one-on-one, I work with small groups, and so forth. So the best way, though, is if anybody is feeling that they want to just have support and help in this process, it doesn't mean they have big problems or really absolutely can't go forward without a coach. Not that. It's that they want support, and maybe they want someone else to help them see things that they're not seeing. Send me an email and we can have a conversation.
Great. Wonderful. Thank you again so much, Michele.
Welcome.
You can all check out some great information that the Career Experts Group has to offer on our website at www.careerexpertsgroup.com. That's experts with an S. Here you can read the current and prior editions of the Your Career, Your Future newsletter. You can sign up to receive the newsletter directly in your email each month, submit career-related questions to our team of experts, and you can access timely and informative career information. I just want to thank you again, Michele, for sharing your great your great expertise with our subscribers. And I hope everyone has a wonderful day.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone. Yes. Okay.